So let's get started. Now, learning to drive the car. This is one of, I use a lot of analogies, and for some reason, driving and photography, a lot of it correlates. So I'll use driving as an analogy. Now, one of the first ones I use is learning to drive the car. So when it comes time to learning photography, and especially when we go around the room, like Sue said that she wanted to learn what the custom settings do on her camera. And a lot of times I'll hear people say, I want to learn what all the buttons do on my camera. But I try to tell people that you don't need to know what every single button does on your camera. Now, if I was teaching you how to drive, and let's say you were sitting in the driver's seat, I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I started explaining how the GPS works. So I show you how to find Starbucks, how to save your routes, and how to do all this stuff. And then I go and spend 10 minutes on the satellite radio. I show you how to find stations, how to save stations. At a certain point, you're going to say, show me how to drive the car. Which one's the gas, which one's the brake, where's the clutch? How do I get it in first gear? That's what you need to know to drive the car. And once you learn that, a lot of those other settings will fall into place. And you'll find that you won't even need some of those custom settings. Now, photography and convenience have nothing to do with each other. So I tell everyone that right up front. And my goal in this class is to get the best picture on your wall. It's not necessarily to make your life easier, but I'm not trying to make your life hard. Now, I'm a professional, so I'm going to show you how I shoot, and I'm going to show you the way that you can get that really nice shot on your wall. And sometimes it's going to involve a little more work, but in the end, just having that print on your wall that your friends are going to say, wow, you took that? I mean, it'll make it worth that little bit of extra money that you'll have to pay, or a little bit of extra work. All right, so everyone has a nice slow shutter speed. Why? Because you have that aperture really small. And now what I want you to do is go the other way. Open up that aperture as wide as you can. That means go to the lowest number you can get to. And every time you go lower, you're going to be opening up that aperture. So go
to the lowest number?
The lowest number you can get. 1.8?
2.8.
4?
5.6.
5.6?
3.5.
3.5? Anybody everybody have a number like that? Anybody not have a low number like that? Yeah, go ahead and take a picture. It might not be frozen, but it'll be better than the other one. You'll have a faster shutter speed. Now we're 100% frozen, and our shutter speed is 3200th of a second. And we just did that by changing our aperture and changing our ISO. Now, you don't have to know beforehand what speed you need. You can look and see. It's just like that depth of field preview. I mean, don't be scared to take a picture and then just go ahead and delete it. I mean, just find out what speed you need. But this is all a learning process. And I tell people that all photography is physics and practice. That's all photography is. So as you do this a few times, you're going to realize that it's just very predictable. And by the third time you do it, you don't even have to think about it. So that's the thing about photography is people ask me, how do I do this? How do I do that? I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. Were you trying to get rid of all those other, yeah. So this is one of the things that happens. People always ask me, they say, well, what lens should I buy? And I say, well, I don't know. That's like, yeah, because that's like somebody asking me what kind of car should I buy? Because if they say, well, what kind of car should I buy? I say, oh, you should buy a Corvette. And they say, oh, but I have a kid. And I say, okay, well, then buy a minivan. And they say, well, I only have one kid. I say, well, then buy a Honda Accord. I don't like Hondas. Well, then why'd you ask me what kind of car to buy? So that's what a lens is saying, what lens should I buy? Buy a wide angle. But I want something for my kid's soccer game. I don't know. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you're looking for. And I can tell you what lens to buy. And the same thing with a photo. Somebody will call me and say, I'm trying to take a photo of this. How do I do it? And I can say, well, I can tell you how I would do it, but I'm not even there to see it. But do you want your background in focus? Do you have more people? Do you want this? Because if I send you guys all outside right now and say, go take a picture, let's say there's a classic car out in the garage, everybody go take a picture of it. You're all going to come back with different pictures, especially if I send you out there individually. One person's going to have just a rear view mirror, playing with an angle. Some person's going to have the whole car. Some person's going to have the front grille. Everyone has a different idea. So I would rather tell you all this does that, and then you can turn that into your picture. Because if I say, oh, you're taking a picture of a car, just put it on f8 and you'll get the whole car in focus. But if you just want the grille in focus and you want the hood ornament and then the car blurred, well, then you can just use 1.4. So what do you want? And if you like the picture, then you did the right thing. You see, this is what happens if you let the camera pick your focusing point. So this is with the camera in auto selection of the focus points. So I'm telling the camera, you know what? You just go figure out where you can find a little bit of contrast and you just go ahead and focus for me. And this is what your camera will do. So the quick story behind this picture is my mom took this picture because she knows my intro. I used to talk about my mom in my intro. And so I would talk about my mom taking pictures with my camera. So one day I actually handed her the camera and she was on guard. She was like, I'm not taking any bad pictures. But I kind of sabotage her because I set the camera back to the factory defaults and there's just no way you can take a good picture like that. So this is one of the pictures she took. But this is what happens if you let the camera try to focus for you. Now, she didn't even know about the focusing point. So if she had, maybe she would have moved it up to the eyes because that's where we want to focus. You want to focus on the eyes. So it would have given the camera a shot. But the camera really had no shot here. It just found some contrast in its focus. So let's look at another shot. Now, in this shot, these are my active focus points. So this is, again, letting the camera, this is on a Canon, letting the camera decide where I want to focus. Now, the first one was a Nikon, this is Canon. They do the same thing. They look for contrast. They say, ooh, I found some nice contrast in the cart right here. I'm focused on that. Now, if I just looked at this picture without knowing the focus points, I might say to myself, ooh, wow, I nailed the focus in that. But this is also taken in program mode. So program mode will tend to give you a smaller aperture knowing that it's probably going to miss the focus a little bit. So this is the picture I got, and I might think, oh, wow, I got that, but I didn't. We know that we focused on the cart. So the first step we need to take in focusing is taking control of your focus points. And to do by that, I mean manual selection of your focus point and picking where in the picture I want to put this point. So if I want to focus on Mark, I'm going to put the focus point right on his eye, and I'm not going to move it off his eye because that's what I want in focus. I don't care if his camera's in focus. I don't care if Jim's in focus behind him. I want him to be in focus. So here's how you do it on Canon. Now here's a sports shot. I talk about trapping your focus. You can just leave your focusing sensor over here. And that's what I'll usually do. If I say I want a picture of the quarterback or the running back running toward me when I'm on the sideline, I'll just leave my focusing sensor over here somewhere, and then I'll just wait for him to hit it, or I'll just follow him. So I'm not going to get greedy and try to get the quarterback and then throwing and get the wide receiver. So I'll take the quarterback or the running back, whoever's coming around that corner, and if they go the other way, I'll just wait till the next play. So somebody said, well, what if he just keeps going the other way? I said, well, then I'm moving to the other side of the field. So, I mean, some things aren't, I try to make my life easy. So if they keep going that way, and this happened the other night because I was shooting football on Friday night, and I said to myself, because they kept running to the right. I'm like, oh man. I was thinking maybe I should run all the way go all the way to the other side. And then I thought, you know what? That's exactly what the other coach might think. So then they're going to run over here this way. So I'm like, it's working on me. So yeah, the defense and the photographer are now both on the other side, and now they're going this way. So I'm like, that's what they wanted. So I just stayed over there.